The following program is intended for mature audiences.
Football fans, the time is now.
Give me a hell yeah!
For the football show you never knew you wanted. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Broken Helmet.
Coming to you live on tape on this Sunday, November 30th, 2025. It is the Broken Helmet. Rich Eggy here behind the wheel, and to get in touch with the show, you can reach us at brokenhelmetshow@gmail.com or at brokenhelmetpod on X. So, we have reached week 13 of the NFL season. As Francesa says, can't believe it. It goes by so fast, you know. When you wake up, in September, you get ready for week one, and the leaves are green on the tree, and the lawns are looking all plush, and then before you know it, it's snowing, and you've eaten your turkey dinner, and it's week 13 of the NFL season. I did that joke 2 weeks ago, but I'll repeat it, and I'll just do it right now. So, as I said, week 13 of the NFL season. Hope you guys all had a very enjoyable Thanksgiving. And like everybody else, I guess it's time to get the tree, hang up all of the Christmas decorations. Went to Hobby Lobby last night with the wife because it was, 50% off, all this stuff. Maybe we can, spruce up the great room a little bit and get some extra shit, make the place feel a little more full, improve on last year, do a little bit each year. Walked in the place, had been there maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it was filled. I mean, every single aisle had tons of Christmas shit in it. Went in it yesterday, turned the corner to where all of the Christmas stuff was, empty. I mean, literally in like 3 weeks, the whole place was done. And it was funny because over the week or 2 weeks prior to Thanksgiving, all of a sudden you saw the Christmas lights go up. The guy across the street from me, who I hate, you don't know me, I don't know you, but you suck. Turn your lights off at night. He's got these spotlights on his house. They shine in my house. It's like a friggin' National Lampoon's vacation movie. And I'm Clark Griswold, and this fucking house across the street from me has these spotlights that shine all over the block. They moved in about a year ago, and he put these suns on every side of his house, and it just shines. It's like a Walmart parking lot. It's insane, and they shine in my house. Well, this guy, unfortunately, because I gotta give him credit, he builds this beautiful lit tree. Right, he has somebody do up all the lights on the tree, and he turned that sucker on 2 weeks ago now. I think 2, possibly 3 weeks ago. So I wrote on Twitter at one point, I said, Twitter X, you know what I mean? When is it the time to put up your Christmas lights? Is it 1 week before Thanksgiving? It's getting to the point now, right, where you are going to go through Halloween, and November 1st, Christmas lights turn on. They'll probably be installed prior to Halloween and then turned on November 1st. That's what I'm thinking is going to be the future go-round, because everything's based on the retail schedule, right? As soon as September hits, we're selling for Halloween. As soon as Halloween hits, we probably should have already been in Christmas mode. And if you go to Home Depot and any kind of big box store, they go into Christmas mode now probably around September, maybe October, but I'm pretty sure I posted something on my Facebook page where it was August 31st or September something, and there was Christmas stuff in the corner, and then it slowly just moves across the store and just eats up all of the shelf space. But that's where we're going, right? If you can't sell it, who cares? So Thanksgiving, we love you, but nobody buys your shit. So bye-bye. Off you go. So I think it's going to be about, 1 to 2 weeks before Thanksgiving is going to be when the Christmas lights go up. And that's slowly going to feed all the way back to November 1st, where it's Halloween, enjoy, next day, turn on the lights. And ta-da! Everybody's got the whole street lit, and you got 2 months of Christmas. But if you're going to go to Hobby Lobby and think that you're going to get some Christmas stuff for around the house, do that well before Thanksgiving. And don't do it anytime after Black Friday. because there's nothing left. So anyway, today going with the kids, go get the Christmas tree, put that sucker up, light that up. That the weekend after Thanksgiving is pretty acceptable for that. You get a good 3 weeks with the tree, but the lights, it's going to be before. It's going to be way before at this point. So, and talk about odd events that happen around Thanksgiving. So obviously everybody watches football. We enjoyed the 3 games ourselves, and the Packers and the Lions played. My wife and I, after we have this Hobby Lobby disastrous event, and we are just met with futility and getting nothing for the great room, so we'll just go with last year's decor. We go to get dinner for us and the kids. We decide to hit Chick-fil-A, which is on the way home. We pull in. I always put the order in on my app, and then I walk into the store because it's always ready, and it kills all the waiting time. Bang bang. We're in a go society now, right? And me too. I don't want to waste time online driving through when I could put the order in the parking lot and then just walk in and pick it up literally in like 5 minutes. But my wife's a drive-through girl, so we go through the drive-through, we pull up, and they start taking the order. I've got my New York Giants hat on, and as the one guy is taking our order, the guy behind him looks at me and is like, "You see that Lions game?" Completely caught me by surprise. And I'm thinking to him, like, maybe he's just trying to make conversation, and he saw my hat and he thinks it looks like a Lions logo, I guess. How do I engage in this conversation here? I don't know. Yeah, I looked at my wife and I looked back at him. Yeah, I did see Lions game. Completely not energetic. And this guy's looking at me. He's like engaging with me. He's like, we've got something to talk about. We're in this fraternity together, and let's chew the fat. And I'm looking at him just like this dead ass stare, like, dude, what the fuck are you talking about? Yeah, sure. Okay. Yeah, so Lions game. Yeah. And then pass and blah, blah. And I've completely punched him out. At this point, my wife laughed after the fact. I take my hat off. And I take my hat off because I'm like, I don't know. Maybe he saw my hat wrong. He thought it was a Lions. He's going to be all embarrassed when he sees the Giants logo. And I don't want to make the guy feel bad. So then I take my hat off. My hair's all over the damn place. Now I look like a mess. And she said after the fact, "Why the hell did you take your hat off?" Well, I thought it was a Lions logo or something. I felt bad. So then I'm trying to, oh yeah, well, and I got St. Brown on my fantasy teams, which I don't, but I'm just trying to make up, some kind of tangible talking point here between me and the random guy. And he went out with that injury, and that was unfortunate. And then he looked at me at that, and he's kind of scratching his head, like, "What are you talking about?" So we get the order and we go through, and my wife was like, "Hold on one second. What happened when the guy asked you about the Lions Giants game?" And I was like, I was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! That's what he was talking about?" She said, "Yeah, what do you think he was talking about?" I said, I thought he was talking about the Packers-Lions game. That's the last Lions game. Why would you refer to a Lions game that was 2 weeks ago? And she was like, "Because you had a Giants hat on, you asshole." And that's the last game the Giants played. I said, "That was the last game?" She said, "Oh my God, Rich, I like, you're senile now?" I said, "No, you're right. You're right. It was the Giants was the last game." I'm not thinking that. I'm a football guy. I'm a bettor. I'm a gambler. I am a Giants fan, but like, I'm in the NFL. Last week was last week. Yeah, sure, it's fun to talk about. If you're Mina Kimes, you can go on air and you can drop 8 million, stupid data stats and post your memes and have all the men just white knight and give it a thumbs up, and you can talk about that all week long. But as soon as those games are done, for me, I'm kind of on to the next one, right? And so I said, I just didn't understand. I just didn't know that the guy was talking about the Giants and the Lions. I thought he was talking about the Lions and the Packers, in which case I didn't know why he was talking to me, because it was pretty random. And I thought maybe he saw my hat. But I couldn't have felt worse, because I literally just stared the guy down like, "Yeah, I saw the game. Yeah, I saw it. You saw it too? Good. This is the conversation you want to have, me and you, about the Lions and the Packers. Why would you think that I want to talk about the Lions and the Packers? I have a goddamn Giants hat on. But you don't understand what the Giants logos looks like. So you're going to start this random conversation. Oh, and the guy has all smiles in his face. He was so happy. Just Giant fans conversing, connecting on that fan, level, that fan cosmic level, the fraternity that we're all part of. And I was just too stupid to understand he was talking about the Giants and the Lions. And I thought he was talking about the Lions and Packers. So anyway, that's how my Saturday of Thanksgiving weekend went, is that I just completely stomped all over this poor Chick-fil-A drive-through workers' attempt to converse with a random patron and just be nice and embrace life like they try to do at Chick-fil-A, which usually is a very welcoming drive-through or ordering out. I mean, there literally is very few places that you go that the people are smiling and are genuinely nice and doing their job well. Go to a McDonald's, go to a Burger King, go to a Chick-fil-A, and it is like, boom, complete. It's like you're on different planets, right? And here this guy is, he's just trying to enjoy a shitty job of standing out in the cold in the drive-through in New Jersey, late November. And this stupid old dude just stomped all over him. So anyway, here we are. Like I said, week 13. Let's get back to the program. This is our gambling show. My brother couldn't make it, all tied up with holidays, so we'll do an abbreviated Let's Bet here. We will start off with first down.
First down.
Title so nice, I say it twice. And where we do a review of last week, we'll cut through it real quick. It was the dogs and the unders again. So we've had this shift now, right? The public genuinely likes the favorites and the overs. And now we've had over the past couple of weeks a shift to the dogs and the unders. Of the dogs went 9-5 against the favorites, and of those 9 covers, 4 were outright wins. Over-unders were 10-4 in favor of the unders. The teasers were basically the same. The dogs and the unders obviously were a little bit better. They were 12-2 and 11-3 versus 9-5 for the favorites and the overs. Home dogs were 5-1. Trifectas were 1-1. Big road favorites, no dice last week. 0-3 for big road favorites. So that was the Bills lost outright. The Patriots didn't cover, and the Seahawks also didn't cover as they lost that cover late in the game. As for Chris and I, we were both 7-7 on the week. We were better than all of the other 3 that we went. Well, we weren't. I shouldn't say that, because the Sharps were 6-3. The Sharps didn't have a lean in several of the games. So the Sharps were the winners last week at 6-3. Chris and I were 7-7. And then the tickets, which is the volume, basically Joe Public, were 5-9. And the money pool, where does most of the money land? Well, last week, that side was 4-10. So we've always talked about the past couple of weeks about games where the spreads mattered. There were basically 4 last week where the spreads came in and were a factor. That was Indianapolis at Kansas City, Pittsburgh at Chicago, Jacksonville at Arizona, and then Philadelphia at Dallas, where Dallas had the come from behind win. All the rest of those games, so there's 4 that the spreads mattered. 10, they were kind of nothing. I looked at teaser legs. I did do good on the teaser last week, thank God, because I was 5-1, and luckily this time I didn't pick the game that I was wrong at, and that was the Bills. So how did we do with our wagers? Because that's what this is all about, right? We were both winners. Hooray! Golf claps all around. At least for me. It was the first win in quite a while. My brother, he also did well, but he's had a good season. So ultimately, like I said, I hit my teaser, which was New England, Detroit, Green Bay, Rams, and San Francisco. And so that pulled in just under 1,200, which was about 900 a profit or so. And then I ended up also hitting my parlay, which was Green Bay -6.5, Rams San Francisco money line. I probably could have juiced those up a little bit, but that was 200 to pull back 628. So on the week, I ended up positive. I brought my bankroll from about 4,300 up to about 5,200. So good for me. I had about $1,000, and it was the first win in a while, but I'm still down a solid $3,000 from when we started the season. My brother ended up hitting two of his bets. He hit the Kansas City. He pulled that down to -2.5, which was the smart move because I ended up putting that in a parlay with Chicago and I left it at 3.5 and I ended up losing. He ended up winning. So he hit that as his straight bet. Then he also hit a parlay of the Dallas money line, San Francisco -2.5, Rams -2.5. We both like San Francisco and the Rams last week. He put that together with Dallas, and that ended up coming in. I put Dallas with Arizona, and then Arizona obviously lost that game in overtime to Jacksonville. And so Chris pulled in 875 for his single bet, and then 960 for his parlay. So he ended up positive about $900 on the week. That brought his bankroll to just under 12,000. I was 3-2 with my super contest, and he was 1-4. He lost his survivor, unfortunately. He lost his. Where am I here? Oh my God, this is just an absolute disaster. Oh, I got ahead of myself. I'll get to it. He won his survivor this week. He lost his best bet because it was Kansas City. His survivor was San Francisco. My best bet was Green Bay, which I capitalized on, and my survivor also was San Francisco. I said that he lost, and it threw me all off because we have updates from this week, and I will get to that now. So we've had 4 games that went down over the past 3 days or 4 days, whatever it was. But Wednesday and Thursday, we had the 3 Thanksgiving Day games and the 1 Black Friday game. And they were all ready for this. Drum roll again. All dog wins. So big money to be had if you did any kind of dog round robin, dog win round robin. We had 2 dog wins with an over and 2 dog wins with an under. So Lions Packers went over, the Chiefs Cowboys went over, and then the Bengals over the Ravens and the Bears over the Eagles both went under. So where did Chris and I land with those? Because we didn't get those picks in. We both lost the Lions and the Chiefs. I ended up going with the Bengals. My brother went with the Ravens, and then we both went with the Bears, so we were in there. So I was 2-2. Chris was 1-3. The home dog won. That was the Cowboys. Trifecta game won. That was the Bengals. Everybody was across the Bengals. That is the one game of the 4 that I was completely shocked at. I didn't think that the Ravens were going to lose at home. I did not like them covering, or I wasn't comfortable enough to go with them, but I did not think that with the Bengals defense and Burrow coming back from being on the sideline all year, basically, Higgins out, I didn't think that they were going to win that game. I thought it was Ravens. I thought it probably would have been a solid teaser leg. I picked it as a teaser leg, but that was not to be. The Bengals came out and the Ravens looked awful. Problems in Baltimore. Big chance now for Pittsburgh should they beat a struggling Bills team here in Pittsburgh today to get a game back as they were sliding. The Ravens here give them a chance just to stay in the thick. And it's going to be those 2 all the way to the end to see what happens. But I wonder, looking back, if this will be one of those games that the Ravens look back at and just, man, we really fucking blew that one, right? So that was the events of Thursday and Friday, like I said. And the reason that it screwed me up just before was because, play it again, Sam. Chris picked Philadelphia as his survivor. And unfortunately,
I'm in so much pain right now.
He lost. So that was his, I guess he keeps pushing back on the survivor because he tied with his Green Bay pick weeks back. But as the Circus Survivor contest goes, a tie is a loss. So this is his second loss, but to him, it is his first full-time loss. And that was Philadelphia. My pick is today, so I will get to that later. But that is what screwed me up when I started looking at last week's sheets, because I knew that he had lost Survivor, and then I looked and it was San Francisco, and I said, oh, no, the San Francisco won because that's who I picked. And how did I screw this up? Oh, that's right, because I was thinking about this week and his Philadelphia pick. But we will get to all those other picks later on. We will start with the big games. There are not a lot this week because all the good teams have played already. I mean, that is the problem when you, whether it was by design or not, but you load up the Thanksgiving and Black Friday games with solid teams that in a season such as 2025, where there are so many middling teams and then a huge amount of just outright bad teams, you suck all the good teams in for those games. That means your Sunday is left with garbaggio. So there are not that many good games. I'll just pick out one and we'll get into it right now.
Second down.
And so for the one game that we will talk about, we'll fly out to Pittsburgh for the 4:00 Bills-Steelers game. Like I said, this opens the door now for the Steelers, seeing that the Ravens ended up losing at home to the Bengals, which you would have thought was a surefire win, was not. And now the Steelers have an opportunity here, should they be able to get the victory over Buffalo at home, to get right back in the thick of the things here and try to take that lead in the AFC North. Now, for the Steelers, I don't know, how do you do it? You got to try to figure out what's going on here with your quarterback and their play. It's not going to get done with Mason Rudolph. I'm sorry, it's not. You've got to get Rodgers back to, I guess, where he was in the beginning of the season, which runs contrary to how I saw it. Because when I saw Rodgers play in the early weeks of the season, I didn't think he was good. I thought he was borderline terrible, but they were winning. Then his play really tanked to the point that, they had the pictures of him and Tomlin going off the field, kind of talking ear to ear, and Tomlin, you really suck today, buddy. But if they're going to have any kind of hope of winning this division, because neither the Ravens nor the Steelers are going to get into the playoffs through the wild card. I don't think there's any chance of that happening. Although all of my end-all, be-all statements so far this season have turned into be way too early. As I think I said that the Ravens were out of this, now they're back into it. I've said there are other teams that were flat out of it, and they're into it. Houston was one of those teams. Houston, I thought they'd be out of it because I thought for sure they were going to lose to the Chiefs. They ended up winning. So, what do I know? I don't know much, but I know I love you. And that may be all I need to know. I think. Who sang that song? God, I think I was in 8th grade when that shit came out. Anyway, back to what I was talking about, which is football. Nobody wants to hear me sing terrible 80s love songs. So we're talking the Steelers and Bills. And here, if Aaron Rodgers can right the ship, this is a Buffalo team ripe for the picking right now because their defense is horrific. I was watching NFL the morning game day or whatever it is just before, and they posted down below their rushing defense was 30th in the league. So if they can get Rodgers to perform mid, as the kids say, and load up on the run game, capitalize on the terrible Buffalo defense, then they could get out of here with that W. The Bills, I don't know how to describe this team. They are all over the place. But I think the best description of them in week 13 of the NFL season is Josh Allen. That's it. That's what this team is. Their defense is terrible. Oh, I shouldn't say just Josh Allen. Josh Allen and James Cook. Cook and Allen. That's it. Allen cooking. Allen cooking. There it is. There's your Buffalo Bills week 13, 2025. Allen cooking. They're the only things that they really have going. The Coleman thing is head scratching because I thought he really was lined up for a good year. And sure enough, I think this year has just solidified a fact that he's been out now for 2 weeks. That, I mean, he's just a head case or a jerk ball or insert descriptor here. But he was drafted to be their number one wide receiver. Remember, they drafted him. They let Diggs go. And now they're dealing with, Shakir, can you step it up here? And what are we going to do here? And where are we going to go? And how are we going to fix this? For sure, if they could trade for a wide receiver in the offseason, if they can't draft one, that would be the move. Now, Dallas would never do it, right? But with CeeDee Lamb and Pickens now sharing the limelight, you wonder if one of them ends up becoming disgruntled, or they can maybe pull off a Pickens-Higgins type deal. Who knows? But Pickens has played really well. Lamb has been banged up, came back, had a bad game. Then he had a good game this past week. But a move like that would be in the best interest of Buffalo, because I am of the opinion, along with many, that the Buffalo window here is closing, if it hasn't already closed. And one of the major issues they have is they need something more for Josh Allen. It can't just be Josh Allen doing this all alone. Now, Cook is fine on the ground, but you need for Allen to sometimes sit back and just rely on the wide receiver rising above everyone else and giving a performance that can allow Josh Allen not to play at his peak level, right? I mean, you can't always have to operate at your ultimate potential in order for your team to win. But that's where we're at right here, because the defense isn't getting it done and the wide receivers are just average. That's what they are. And so now they go into Pittsburgh. And how does this game play out? Bills are 3-point favorites. Over under is 45.5. It is a trifecta game where everybody is in on the Steelers of all teams. I am going the other way. I am going to go with Buffalo in this game. I am going to take Buffalo and the 3. Buffalo is also going to be my best bet. And then my brother is also taking the Bills here on the road. So without fail, this game is going to Pittsburgh. Congratulations to all your Steeler fans. And now let's go to all the rest of the games.
Third down.
And we will start in the 1 o'clock slate. And we will begin in Carolina, where you have the Rams as big road favorites versus Carolina. The Rams are 10.5-point favorites on the road here. 45.5 is the over-under trifecta game in for the Rams, as they have the tickets and the money pool both in the mid 60% range. So a lot of people leaning into Los Angeles. Give the Rams also to my brother and I. We will both pick them in that game. Next game is going to be in Tampa Bay, where the Bucs all banged up, but they do have Bucky Irvin coming back, although he's going to be on a pitch count, as they say. They have Baker Mayfield, who's going to play, although I believe his non-throwing shoulder is going to be all wrapped up in some kind of, not tourniquet, that would cut the blood off, but some kind of support and brace, and he's going to give it a go. Bucs are 3.5-point favorites. 44.5 is the over-under as they take on the Cardinals. Cardinals obviously have Brissett at quarterback now. He's put up fantastic numbers for fantasy football fans. I have him on one of my teams. He got me a W one week. He's now gone to the bench, but he has performed very well for the Cardinals. Their offense has been, manageable from a coordinator standpoint versus when you have Kyler Murray in there just going around and running, throwing, and hoping that something happens. It's a much more functional offense, and you've seen it, perform better. Not getting the results that they wanted, but, maybe they should have done this from week 1, right? Now, how does this shake out here? I don't know. My brother is going to take the Cardinals here. I am going to ultimately take the Bucs. My brother's going to be with the Sharps. I'm going to be in with the tickets and the money pool, as they're both in on the Buccaneers. But 62% of the tickets, 65% of the money pool. We'll see. This is a coin flip game for me. But again, I'm going to take the home team here and against the Cardinals team that just really hasn't performed well. Jaguars, Titans, Jags on the road, another big road favorite. They are 5.5-point favorites. Now, they were 6.5. This has come down 1 full point. That happened overnight or late yesterday. 41.5 is the over-under trifecta game. Everybody in here on the Titans. My brother and I are also taking the Titans. I liked it better at 6.5. 5.5 is probably fine. It's 1 point isn't much, but what scares me is that everybody has the same thought process and that everybody's in on the Titans here. I hate being on that side, but 5.5, 6.5 is a lot of points for a Jaguars team that Trevor Lawrence really doesn't get it done, and they've been winning. Despite themselves, kind of like the Bears in that regard. Although the Bears are probably stronger in certain standpoints than the Jaguars, but they're both one of these teams that really they've got that record. They only got 3-4 losses. How the hell did that happen? So give my brother and I the Titans. Dolphins Saints, this game in Miami. The Dolphins are a 5.5 point favorite. 42.5 is the over under. No sharp lean, but 69% of the tickets and 82% of the money pool are in on Miami. Give my brother and I the Dolphins in this one. 49ers Browns. So we've got game 2 of the Shadur Sanders era, as he is all over the TVs now after he wins last week's game and acts like they just mopped up against a number 1 ranked defense, on the road when they didn't. They beat up on the Raiders. Like, come on, let's be real here. But the 49ers are going to be a big road favorite here at 5.5 point favorites. 35.5 is the over under. No sharp lean. Barely a lean for the tickets in favor of San Francisco, and then 60% of the money pool is on San Fran as well. So give my brother and I the 49ers. I'm a little iffy on this game. I mean, 5.5 is a lot for Brock Purdy on the road against a Browns defense that when they play well, plays really well. And I'm still I don't know what to make of this offense with Shadur Sanders in it. A lot of unknowns for a 49ers team that we kind of know what they're doing. Purdy is not great right now. Maybe they should go back to Mac Jones, give Purdy another go, and then if he's a little shaky, maybe go back to Mac. I don't know, but I'm uneasy about this game. I don't have it anywhere picked, but again, give my brother and I the 49ers. Falcons, Jets, this game in East Rutherford. The Jets are going to be 3-point home dogs to Atlanta and Kirk Cousins. No sharp action, but 67% of the tickets and 72% of the money are in on the Falcons. The over-under is really low. It is the lowest of all of the games this week. Well, actually, no, the 49ers-Browns game was the lowest at 35.5 points. This game, Jets-Falcons, is 38.5 points. So I am going to go with the Jets here. My brother is going to take the Falcons. I wanted to take the Falcons, but Jets were scrappy last week with the Tyrod Taylor start on the road against the Ravens. So give them to me here. My brother's going to probably think Bijan will probably be enough, and Cousins is manageable, and the Jets are terrible. So that I would think is the logic behind a Falcons pick. Final 1:00 game. This game, I guess, is good. Could have put this in second down along with the Bills Steelers, and that is the Colts hosting the Texans. Colts are a 3.5 point favorite. 44.5 is the over under. Sharps in on the Colts. 64% of the tickets and 88% of the money in on Houston. The big news in this game is Daniel Jones is playing with a broken fibula or broken leg bone. Fibula, tibia. I'm pretty sure it's a fibula, but whatever it might be, he's got a broken leg, basically. So I don't know how that works out for him, especially since his performance has kind of dipped since the beginning of the year. So give me Houston, give my brother Houston as well. The Colts could just probably run the ball, but the Texans defense is good. Better at home a little bit than on the road, but here, I don't know. There's just something about this Colts team. I've been waiting for it to crash down. Before the season started, I posted this will be Shane Steichen's last head coaching opportunity. As soon as he's canned, he'll never be a head coach again anywhere else. And then they went off and they've had this run all year. So I am the mush. I am the walrus. Cuckoo, cuckoo. Give me the Texans and the Colts here. Congratulations to Colts fans. 4:00 games. Seahawks hosting the Vikings. The Vikings are going with Brahmer. 11.5 point favorites for Seattle at home because you got a Vikings team with this new quarterback, and it's just a wasted season for Minnesota. The J.J. McCarthy experiment has just purely exploded in their face. As you'll just start hearing about Sam Darnold and should we have kept him, and why did we believe in this, et cetera, et cetera. Maybe we should start looking at the GM a little bit. Tweeted that out, but you don't hear much about that in Minnesota. But I think it's probably time we can be comfortable talking a little bit about the GM performance for Minnesota. But you've lost a window here with some a solid team elsewhere, not thanks to the draft though, but simply because you have no quarterback to speak of. And I think that'll probably be a factor here in Seattle, as the Seahawks defense will probably eat his first road performance here up. Seattle's got the sharps on their side, but then there's a minuscule lean of the tickets toward Minnesota, and then a more comfortable favor of the Vikings for the money pool. But my brother and I both have Seattle in this one. Bills Steelers we talked about, so that brings us to the Chargers hosting the Raiders. Chargers are a 9.5-point favorite at home. 70% of the tickets, 68% of the money pool in on Herbert. Hey Bear. I think I'm just going to keep going. Hey Bear. Instead of Herbert. Everybody calls him Herbert. I'm going to call him A-Bear. But right now, like I said, 9.5-point favorites. 40.5 is the over-under. I give my brother and I both the Steelers over the Raiders. The Raiders are just putrid. They fired Chip Kelly. Sure. Chip Kelly takes the shot. They're kind of like the AFC Giants at this point, right? We've fired the offense coordinator, then we'll fire the defense coordinator, then we'll fire unfortunately, Joe Shane is like Pete Carroll in Las Vegas, as opposed to, where, Daboll wasn't. Daboll was kind of Chip Kelly, right? So that's the way that relationship kind of worked, and how you can see the similarities, right? It's analogous. New York to Las Vegas. So Chip Kelly is going to start firing everybody else until himself, and then finally somebody else will get rid of him, hopefully in the offseason, because it has not gone well for the Raiders, and it doesn't really look like it's going anywhere either. That's the biggest issue there. But as for the Chargers, even without two tackles, they're in the thick of this thing, 2 games behind the Broncos, who are the next game to talk about, but they will get an easy win here at home versus the Raiders. And so that brings us to the Sunday night football game, where, as I mentioned, we will ultimately talk about the Broncos, who are 6.5-point favorites versus Washington on the road. They're a big road favorite. It was 5.5. It is now 6.5 in favor of Denver. The Sharps are going to be in on Washington, while the tickets and the money are in on the Broncos, and pretty heftily. Both are over 80% for Denver. So I don't know. I'm going to take the Broncos. I liked it. Again, this is one of those, I liked it more at the other point spread. We talked about Jaguars Titans, and I said I like the Titans better at 6.5 than 5.5. I like the Broncos more at 5.5 than 6.5. That's stupid, Rich. That's very logical. Every gambler likes more points in their favor. You're right. But now it has shifted. I picked the Broncos. I will stay with the Broncos. 43.5 is the over-under. Not expecting a lot of points in this one. Another home dog. The final home dog of the week. There were 7 in total. And the first one won, and that was the Cowboys. We mentioned that earlier. So that leaves the final game, and that game will end up being our Monday Night Football game, where my lowly New York Giants will look to go on the road into New England and take on Drake May and the streaking Patriots, as the Patriots, I think, have won 8 or 9 straight. I had it up before, but I'm not going to pull it up. But they have not lost in a while. And so here they are going to be a 7.5-point home favorite. They have the Sharps leaning their way, but then you have 57 and 54% of the tickets and the money pool, respectively, in on the Giants. This is a Monday night game, so those numbers are going to shift quite a bit. 46.5 is the over-under. 7.5 points is too many points for me. The Patriots here struggled not cover last week, right? Obviously, but that was on the road against a Bengals team that I guess ended up being better than we thought, since the Bengals ended up going in versus the Ravens and ended up winning just this week. But the Giants here have been crafty. I mean, even they keep losing close. It's been their MO all year. And this will be the first game now without Shane Bowen. Shane Bowen shown the door after a terrible season where he probably shouldn't have been brought back, or at least fired after one of those first two awful defensive performances, but kept around, ended up costing Dable his job, and then finally cost Bowen his job. So now we're going to see a complete change of the Giants here for the last couple of weeks of the season, as Mike Kafka interviews for his job to see if he can keep it, and he will try to do so with a new defensive coordinator and a new defensive mindset, and they will try not to blow a 30-point lead in the fourth quarter, or a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter, or a 20-point lead, or they would try not to blow leads, as I think there were 6 this year that they've blown. And, had they won those games, it would have been a much different, season for the Giants. I think for the better for the club, because Dable ultimately as a coach wasn't good. There's too many mistakes. There were too much ineptitude in certain, situations, unfortunately, because you liked in year one when he was successful on the road. They won that game against Minnesota, but that ended up being the death knell because they ultimately had to keep Daniel Jones, and the Daniel Jones experiment completely backfired and just wasted years of patience with the team. And I think with all these teams that are struggling, that's why you've heard the term half measure recently quite a lot. And I think that is why you really can't do half measures. You have to just pull the trigger and end it all, right? It assisted suicide if you have to. Just end it. Just cut it off and start new. Rise like the Phoenix with new GMs and new coaches and new staff. But this whole trying to piecemeal things and making jumps when you're not fully committed, you just burn years. You burn years of goodwill. And for the Giants, this ultimately ended up being destined to fail because Dable comes in and, albeit has a good year one, is saddled with the Daniel Jones question. And then the Daniel Jones question ultimately eats up the next couple of years. So by the time he finally gets a quarterback, it's too late. It's too late because you've shown so much failure over the past couple of years. And once you start losing a lot, you start nitpicking all little small things that when the teams are winning, you don't really drill down that far. So maybe these things that Giant fans have been furious about Dable, maybe they don't look, with a fine tooth comb. Maybe they don't drill down that much and point out all these flaws should they have been winning. But they haven't, and so they did, and so he was shown the door. Which is, who knows? Maybe if he was around, no Shane Bowen, and this was year 2 of the experiment, maybe he sticks around and things perform better. But yeah, Raiders, year 1, forget it. You could see it right now. This is not going to work. And if you want to extend the Carroll experiment longer, just to find out there's more years of failure, I mean, you're just wasting time, right? Gerard Mayo was a great example of we're just pulling the cord. Now, whether you want to believe the rumors that was just set up from the get-go, and it was told to Vrabel, hey, take another year off, relax, we'll pull you in next year. We're going to ride this 1 year out with Gerard, but we'll get rid of him, and then we'll bring you in. Whatever, if you want to believe that rumor, sure. I think it's probably more likely that would happen, because for Vrabel not to get picked up when he was just sitting there and there was, some kind of relationship between ownership and Vrabel. But that worked out because you get rid of the old regime and you start fresh with the new quarterback on a ground level, and you're not wasting any time figuring it out. Pete Carroll, you're going to waste time figuring out. And so when it looks terrible, the Chip Kelly thing looks awful. Go down Aaron Glenn, with the Jets. It looks awful. They don't have a quarterback. Like, just wasting years. Now, if it takes him 3 years to get the quarterback, Aaron Glenn's not making it. Aaron Glenn's probably not making it past this year, or if he has a bad year too, he's not making it past year 2 either. But is it technically his fault? Now, I'm not an Aaron Glenn fan, but he doesn't have a quarterback. So what are you going to do? I'm looking up at Game Day Morning, and they're showing Kyler Murray, Arizona. Kyler Murray's been not good. He's just not good. And as Gannon has been battling with no quarterback, or a quarterback that just can't get it done. And so Gannon, they're giving him years, but it's like he's battling a losing cause, because you're not going to get it done with Kyler Murray. And so he'll be shown the door, and you'll look back and you just be like, we should have just pieced out from Kyler Murray when we had the chance and start new. So anyway, as I'm drilling down on the Patriots-Giants, the moral of the story is that I am going to take the Giants here in the 7.5 points, and my brother is also taking the Giants and the 7. And so that does it for all the games and our picks. Let's go to our wagers.
4th down.
And we will do it like this. We gave locks. I gave mine. It was Buffalo. My brother's was Detroit. And so he got a big L for his best bet. As for our survivors, I am going Miami. I'm going to take them at home. I looked around. I really didn't have much to pick from based on my prior weeks. I did have the one loss with Carolina 2 weeks ago when I got fancy with it, and I ended up taking Carolina, and that was my 1L on the season. But had I not lost that game, looking at what I had left, I think the Dolphins over the Saints, which was it Carolina versus the Saints is where I blew up last time? I think it was. I'd have to go back, but here we go again with the Dolphins at the Saints. So, in all likelihood, the Saints end up picking this one out. But if I was to play with the teams that I had left, Miami would have to be my shot. So give me Miami for my survivor. My brother ended up picking Philadelphia, and they ended up losing. So my brother takes his first full loss, as he would like to say, but it's the second loss of the year based on Circa Survivor rules. As for our Super Contest, give me Buffalo, Miami, Seattle, Chargers, and the Giants. As for my brother, give him Houston, Rams, 49ers, Chargers, and the Bills. So we both have the Chargers and we have the Bills in our Super Contest, and other elsewhere we are different. So now it comes down to our cash. Let's go. My brother has been tearing it up. I will give you his. I'm not going to pick anything of his, but usually what ends up happening is that the losing team gets to go second, just in case there's something that the losing team goes first. That way, if the winning team hears something that the losing team offers, it's pretty tasty, you can steal it. I mean, you still could, but that's the way that we've been doing it. I'm going to flip it here because he is not here and he is the winning team. I'm not going to take anything of his, but he is up just under 12,000 is where his money pool is at, his bankroll is at, and that is up from 8,500 to start the 8,500. 9,000 to start the year. So he's up a full almost $3,000. He is going to take, we're looking at hindsight. We're in the DeLorean right now. Detroit in the 2.5. So he lost 250 there. He also took Kansas City, Baltimore, Philadelphia. So he lost that there. He did the mush parlay there as all the other teams ended up winning. But he's got two that are live right now, and that will be Houston, and this is going to be a parlay. Houston 7.5. Getting 7.5, so plus 7.5 for Houston. Rams minus 2.5, Seattle minus 2.5, Buffalo minus 2.5. So you've got a field goal and then touchdown dog parlay, 4 legs. Rams, Seattle, Buffalo, field goal wins. Houston, a touchdown loss. He's going to put $350 down to pull back $1,250 in that parlay. Then he is going to do a money line parlay. 2 teams and 2 teams only. It is going to be Denver and the Giants. So he's going with the Giants winning on the road against Drake May. I think that is not the route to go if you wanted to pick one of these dogs to win. If you're looking at dogs to win, now granted, Giants are 7.5-point favorites, but I think there are other teams along the way here. Cardinals on the road, 3.5. Jags, Titans at home, 5.5. Browns, 5.5 at home versus Brock Purdy. Jets, 3. I mean, of all the teams here to throw into a money line here, Steelers in 3 at home. The Giants would not have been the way that I went, but he has been more successful than me, so I will shut my fucking trap. So he's going to put 150 to pull back 860 for that money line parlay. And so that brings it to it's moi. And I will go like, I have how many drum rolls have I played in this podcast? 1,000 drum rolls. I've got 2 boards full of sounds and drops, and I played the drum roll like 12 times today. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do my best bet in a ladder. Give me Buffalo -3, Buffalo -6.5, and Buffalo -9.5. Give me 150 and 50 on those down the board. The 100 will pull back 189, the 50 will pull back 129, and the other 50 will pull back 178. So I'm hoping that Buffalo wins by 10 points or more. Nice road win to right the ship against a terrible Aaron Rodgers. And then that'll net me a decent return on my 200. Then I am going to do a whole bunch of parlays, etc. Give me Rams, Dolphins, Chargers, Patriots, all by a field goal, 200 for 546 in return. Then give me all the favorites parlay. That's what I'm going to call it. The Rams, Seattle, Chargers, all with their lines. So Rams -10.5, Seattle -11.5, Chargers -9.5. Give me 50 for 347 in return. Then give me the Dolphins -5.5. Give me the 49ers -5.5. And give me New England and the money line. Give me 25 for 115 there. And then I got 2 more left. One is going to be a money line dog parlay. I guess you could maybe take these and do a round robin with all 3 of them, but I just did them all together. Jets money line, Houston money line, Pittsburgh money line. Give me those 3, 25 for 369 in return. I guess you could split up and do Jets Houston, Jets Pitt, Houston Pitt, and do those 3 bets and do it at whatever denomination that you wanted to. But I'm going to do all 3. And then I had a little bit of money left over to make it and bring me down to $47.50 as my ending bankroll. Let me like $31. And so I'm going to do a player parlay. These are going to be all rushers to go over 80 yards. Bijan Robinson, Jonathan Taylor, Devon Achane. So give me those 3 all above 80. 31 to pull back 186. And so that'll leave my bankroll at the end of it just under $5,000 at $47.50, like I just said. And then that'll leave my brother's bankroll at a little bit under $1,100 at $10.80. And that's all she wrote. That is week 13 of the NFL season. Again, I hope you guys all enjoyed your Thanksgiving. Hope you have a great beginning of your Christmas shopping season. Get your lights up, get your tree. That's what I'm going to do now. A couple of hours here before kickoff. And I hope all of your bets cash. So you got a little bit of extra holiday money, Christmas money, or whatever holiday that you celebrate. A little bit extra in that wallet there to celebrate on dinner with your girl or your man or, whatever it might be. And enjoy. Responsible gambling. Remember, keep it straight here. Don't go too nuts. 1-800-GAMBLE if you feel a little iffy. All right? Peace out.